True strength doesn't lie in resisting the world, but in not allowing it to break us from within. How many times have you felt like the world was against you? Like every word, every action, even those unexpected situations shook you so deeply that keeping your inner peace felt nearly impossible. What if I told you there's a power inside you that can change all of that? That there's a way to shape your mind to be immune to what comes from outside without losing your essence, your humanity. Carl Jung, with his profound and unique insight into human psychology, showed us that true freedom begins within. He believed that we have the ability to choose our emotional reactions, and by doing that, we become invulnerable to the negative impacts of the outside world. The key to this transformation is self-knowledge. When you truly know yourself, understand your emotions, your thoughts, your limits, nothing can steal your peace. Sounds far away. It's not. It's totally possible. Jung taught us that by embracing our whole selves, both the light and the shadow within us, we build a solid foundation that protects us from life's storms. And that protection isn't a cold armor that hardens or numbs us, but an inner strength that lets us keep moving forward, even when the world tries to knock us down. In this video, we'll talk about how to apply Jung's teachings to become emotionally immune. And that doesn't mean ignoring pain, challenges, or criticism. It means learning to recognize all of that without letting it consume you. It means being able to face a tough situation and, instead of reacting with fear or anger, respond with clarity, balance, and control over your mind and your reactions. Imagine for a moment, what if you could live every day without being shaken by others' opinions, without cutting words or unexpected events knocking you down? What if inner peace was reassured, true treasure, no matter what's happening outside? This isn't a distant dream or an abstract idea. It's real, and it's within your reach. The key lies in how you relate to what's happening inside you. When you stop giving power to what comes from outside, when you stop being a hostage to circumstances, you experience a freedom that goes far beyond just the absence of problems. It's the freedom to be yourself, to act according to your truth, without being dragged by anything or anyone. Jung teaches us that by taking control of our emotions and mind, we become more authentic, stronger, and lighter beings. When you realize that the only power that can truly affect you is the one you allow into your mind, everything changes. Today, I invite you to take the first step on this journey of transformation. When you look within, you find the strength to no longer be affected by anything or anyone. When that happens, you'll realize that the world outside no longer has power over your inner self. Because here's the truth. When you understand who you really are and how to control your emotions, you become unbeatable, not because you're indestructible, but because you know that nothing can touch what you choose to protect inside yourself, and you have the power to start right now. Have you ever stopped to think about how many times you've let other people's opinions shape your choices, your behavior, your self-esteem? Too often, we become prisoners of others' expectations, making decisions just to please, to be accepted, or simply to avoid judgment. But true freedom lies in breaking free from that emotional prison. It's about learning to be true to yourself, even if that means exposing yourself, being misunderstood, or going against the current. Emotional autonomy means being the captain of your own life, not letting what others think or say about you control your emotions or actions. This doesn't mean being insensitive or indifferent. It means understanding that you're in control of how you feel and how you respond. Imagine the freedom of no longer needing to constantly seek approval. When you start developing this emotional autonomy, you become capable of making decisions aligned with your values and beliefs, not with what others expect from you. This is one of the biggest steps toward true freedom, understanding that even though criticism may come, it doesn't define who you are. It's just external opinions you can choose to listen to or simply let go. Staying true to your principles, even if that means swimming against the tide, is a sign of inner strength and emotional wisdom. When you validate yourself, the need for external validation decreases. In a world where everyone chases likes, recognition at work, or approval in personal relationships, true strength comes from within. Validating yourself means recognizing your worth, regardless of what others think or say, and that's essential to building solid self-esteem and maintaining inner peace. When you learn to rely on yourself and find your own approval, you build a strong emotional foundation that withstands the storms from outside. But how do you truly put this into practice? One of the most powerful ways to cultivate this inner validation is by reflecting on your achievements, your values, and the positive impact you have on the lives of those around you. Pausing to recognize your victories, even the small ones, connects you to your true essence. Self-validation comes exactly from this, acknowledging your own journey, your worth, without needing anyone else to confirm your existence or validate your actions. Often, we wear social masks, versions of ourselves that we believe the world wants to see. This isn't by chance. The pressure to fit into standards of beauty, success, behavior, or morality is huge. Society insists on shaping our lives, pushing us further and further away from who we really are. But after all, what's the price of living behind those masks? When your life revolves around pleasing others, when your choices are made just to avoid displeasing anyone, you run a serious risk, losing your authenticity. These masks pull us away from our essence and leave us in constant insecurity, because behind them always lives a fear, the fear of being rejected if we show who we really are. True freedom then lies in being authentic, allowing yourself to be who you are, without the weight of external expectations. That means accepting your imperfections, your quirks, and understanding that being authentic isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about living true to your own values and principles, without fear of judgment. When you choose to be honest with yourself, other people's opinions lose their power over your happiness. And this journey to break free from dependence on others' opinions takes courage, but it brings an indescribable freedom. This path starts with self-knowledge, with the daily practice of understanding who you are, what really matters to you, and building a life aligned with your deepest values. It's not about being perfect or pleasing everyone, but about being true to yourself, regardless of outside pressures. Break free from the chains of judgment and the endless search for approval. Recognize that you are already enough, just as you are. True validation comes from within, and by being authentic and staying true to who you are, you create a free life within a peace where nothing and no one can steal your essence. Be yourself without fear. Allow yourself to live in harmony with the truth that lives inside you. Only then will you find the freedom and peace you so deeply desire. But life isn't made up of easy days alone. It's full of challenges, surprises, losses, failures, moments that seem to knock us down. In those times, we are tested to our limits. However, if we look deeper, those adversities don't have to be the end of our story. They can, in fact, be the beginning of a profound transformation. Psychological resilience, as Carl Jung teaches us, is not something we're born with, but something we can cultivate. It grows from self-knowledge, self-discovery, and, above all, when we take control of our own lives. Jung believed that difficulties are inevitable, but within us lies an unlimited potential to face them. According to Jungian psychology, true resilience doesn't come from resisting pain or denying emotions, but from embracing our shadow, that part of us that hurts and challenges us. For Jung, these obstacles are actually opportunities for growth. Facing our limitations and flaws head-on strengthens us and prepares us for the challenges ahead. By understanding the archetypes that dwell in our psyche and connecting with our shadow, we begin the work of internal integration. The shadow, according to Jung, is that part of ourselves we often ignore, our fears, insecurities, and past traumas. But by bringing them into the light of awareness and acknowledging them, we can transform them into a source of strength. True resilience is born from learning to live with our imperfections and even using them to empower ourselves. Our wounds don't have to define who we are. They can be the source of our wisdom and our ability to withstand life's storms. It's important to remember that resilience is not a permanent state. It's an ongoing process. Life never stops challenging us, and our ability to cope depends on how much we invest in knowing and discovering ourselves. Jung reminds us that the path to wholeness, individuation, is a journey without end, and that journey starts now. Evolving is a constant journey, a process born from a deep understanding of who we really are, our motivations, desires, and limitations. This self-development doesn't happen overnight. It's a daily practice that demands time, patience, and dedication. When we truly begin to know ourselves, understanding our reactions, emotions, and choices, we become better prepared to face life's adversities. Self-knowledge acts like an invisible shield, protecting us from external influences that try to pull us off our path. We begin to understand what truly matters to us, no longer being guided by the opinions and pressures of the outside world. In doing so, we become the architects of our own existence, consciously choosing our responses and actions. But this journey isn't easy. One of the biggest challenges is learning to be the master of our emotions. When we become aware of what we feel, we stop reacting impulsively to external triggers. We are no longer prisoners of fear, anger, or sadness. Instead, we observe our emotions without letting them consume us. This is one of Jung's deepest teachings. Self-awareness is the key to freedom. Notional freedom. How many times have you found yourself swept away by an uncontrollable emotion? Anger that explodes without warning, sadness that paralyzes, anxiety that blocks your actions. The good news is that all these emotions have a source, and over time we can learn to identify, understand, and most importantly, not let them dictate our actions. Instead of being controlled by them, we can choose to respond with calm, clarity, and wisdom. Practicing emotional resilience means understanding that it's not the external circumstances that determine what we feel, but our ability to process them and respond in a balanced way. Jung teaches us that when we become aware of the roots of our emotions, we can transform them into allies. This requires patience, practice, and above all, compassion for ourselves. Each time you manage to observe your emotions without being consumed by them, you become stronger, more at peace with yourself, and better prepared to face any storm life throws your way. Resilience is much more than just surviving difficulties. It's the art of turning every adversity into learning, growth, and personal evolution. Drawn through Jung's teachings, we understand that challenges aren't enemies, but disguised teachers. When we embrace our shadows and invest in continuous self-knowledge, we become capable of facing any storm. If you want to transform your life and become truly resilient, start with total acceptance of who you are with all your strengths and weaknesses. Invest in your self-development. Challenge yourself to keep growing and refuse to be ruled by your emotions. The power of resilience is already within you, just waiting to be discovered and strengthened. Now is the time to become the master of your own life, because once we learn how to be resilient, nothing can break our essence. Carl Jung also reminds us that we are not prisoners of circumstances or of other people's opinions. True strength is born from deep self-awareness, the kind that makes us authentic and resilient in the face of hardship. When we connect with our core and integrate our shadows, we learn not to be shaken by outside pressures. Inner peace begins to exist, regardless of what the world around us thinks or says. The emotional freedom Jung speaks of isn't about running away from reality. It's about transforming ourselves from the inside out, so we can navigate life's storms with clarity and balance. When we stay true to our values and stop depending on external validation, we find a space of freedom where we can live our truth. Real freedom is not letting anything or anyone control our peace of mind. By practicing awareness, acceptance, and emotional resilience, you begin to build the life you've always dreamed of, one that isn't shaped by external expectations. And in doing so, you become the best version of yourself, someone capable of facing any challenge with courage and wisdom. Now, the choice is in your hands. Be the master of your life, immune to outside influences, living with freedom, authenticity, and inner peace. That's what Carl Jung reveals to you. If you've made it this far, it's because you want to be immune to everything that tries to shake you. So go ahead, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and turn on notifications so you never miss another powerful message like this one. And right here on the screen, you'll find 2 videos filled with wisdom to keep growing on your journey. Don't miss them. I'll be right here waiting for you.